Hello everybody, my name is Jack and welcome back to my channel Genius Speaking, where I teach Italian language for free. New year 2023, and I thought about to rise up the stick of difficulty of my lesson by splashing more conversations in Italian. So once in a while in the following lessons you will find explanations in Italian language. Of course, I will bring subtitles so it will be easier for everybody to understand what I'm talking about. But I think it's important to start, especially to hear the right pronunciation of Italian, pronunciations, words, letters, etc. Many Italian words you will hear in this channel will be the very same. You will find out very useful in everyday conversations in Italian language. I want to start the first very lesson of 2023 from the basics. Since now we've covered a lot of grammar, nouns, articles, verbs, and etc. So I want to spend more time on logical and semantic aspects of Italian grammar. And in fact, I want to start from the simple sentence. La frase semplice è una frase in cui tutto ruota attorno a un solo verbo, ovvero a una sola azione. Di conseguenza, la frase semplice contiene due soli elementi: il soggetto, colui che fa l'azione, il verbo o predicato, l'azione che viene compiuta. The subject does the action and the verb expresses the action done by the subject. With this very simple phrase, we can build, of course, three different kinds of sentences: affirmative, negative and interrogative. Nelle frasi affermative il soggetto compie l'azione, nelle frasi negative il soggetto non compie l'azione, nelle frasi interrogative viene posta una domanda. Now that we have clarified what a simple sentence is, we can start to analyze the two main parts. The first is the subject, of course. As I said before, the subject is the entity that performs the action. Non solo il soggetto esprime ciò di cui si sta parlando, ma in italiano è strettamente fondamentale perché il soggetto stesso determina coniugazione del verbo, genere e numero di tutti gli elementi che compongono una frase. Of course, for a simple sentence, the subject determines only how the verb is going to be conjugated. But as we will see in the future, from a simple sentence we can build a more complex one. When we are moving from a simple sentence to a complex sentence, of course, the subject, its gender and its number is going to affect also any other elements of the very sentence. Rule of the thumb. In Italian, as happens in English language, the subject goes right before the verb. And generally, it is the first thing addressed at the beginning of every sentence, especially in the simplest ones. Based on the kind of subjects we are talking about in the sentence, we can have generally three different kinds of simple sentences. We can have active phrases, passive phrases, and phrases with nominal predicate. Nella frase attiva, abbiamo un verbo in forma attiva, cioè descrive quello che il soggetto fa. Nella forma passiva, invece, il soggetto è l'entità che subisce l'azione. Nelle frasi con predicato nominale abbiamo che il predicato è costituito da un aggettivo che descrive le qualità del soggetto. Jack teaches. Jack insegna. This is the active form when the subject performs the action. Jack was taught. A Jack è stato insegnato. This is the passive form, meaning the subject, Jack, undergoes the action. Jack is awesome. Jack è fantastico. This last case scenario we have a nominal predicate that describes a quality of Jack. Remember, subject maintains concordance with the predicate in any case scenario. Whatever happens, this is one of the most important rules. Nella frase semplice, il soggetto è spesso costituito da un nome comune, un nome proprio, un pronome, un verbo. So, in the simplest case scenario, the subject is a name. A proper name, so a person, does an action. Like Jack teaches, Jack insegna. However, we can also use a common name to describe an action. The car runs. L'auto corre. It is also frequent to find a pronoun as a subject. Lui mangia. In tutti i casi precedenti abbiamo un soggetto logico costituito da qualsiasi particella grammaticale e un verbo, un predicato. Spesso, come in inglese, anche in italiano viene utilizzato il verbo essere, è, per descrivere stati e caratteristiche del soggetto stesso. I said before that the subject is positioned right before the predicate. However, there are few cases scenarios in Italian language where you can find the subject after the predicate. And it is common situation, especially in passive sentences, in which the subject undergoes the action. In those cases scenarios, in fact, in Italian often comes first the predicate and after the subject. Has been elected the president. È stato eletto the predicate. Il presidente, subject. In this case, the order between subject and verb has been reversed. Other examples can be interrogative sentences, where you are asking a question. In this case, in fact, often, especially in Italian language, the subject comes at the end of the sentence. Like, where's Mario? Dov'è Mario? A parte questi casi specifici, in italiano spesso ritroviamo il soggetto prima del verbo e soprattutto come primo elemento in ogni frase. Sometimes, even in the smallest sentences, the subject can be omitted if it is not necessary to explicit the subject or it is clear on what we're talking about. Simple sentences, if we omit the subject, we end up having only one element, the predicate. In italiano, quando si danno ordini, ad esempio, è possibile spesso omettere il soggetto. Mangia è l'equivalente di tu mangia, you eat. But because it is obvious that I'm talking to you, we can drop the pronoun you and use only the predicate. We're going to conclude this very lesson with few more words about the predicate. In Italian language, the vast majority of the cases scenario will be covered by simple sentences containing what is called a predicative verb. Verbo predicativo. I verbi predicativi sono i verbi che conosciamo e utilizziamo abitualmente. Sono verbi di senso compiuto che possono stare da soli o accompagnati dal soggetto. The grass grows. L'erba cresce. Cresce, from crescere to grow, it is a predicative verb because it stands by its own and identifies an action done by the subject. A peculiar case scenario is the verb to be. Il verbo essere, quando significa esistere, stare fisicamente in un luogo, abitare, vivere e appartenere a un qualcosa, può essere considerato un verbo predicativo. There is somebody, c'è qualcuno. In this very sentence, the verb to be expresses the action of existing, therefore acts by its own, and the verb to be, by consequence, can be considered a predicative verb. However, there are some kind of sentences where there is no predicative verb. Those sentences are called nominal sentences, frasi nominali. Why? Well, because there is only a name that describes some sort of action. Everything good? Tutto bene? In this very small sentence, there is no subject because it is omitted, and there's no actually the predicate. Only a name builds the whole sentence, but in common spoken Italian and also in common spoken English, both the action and the subject are dropped and implicit, because it is very obvious that I'm asking to you how things going. No need for further elements into the sentence to make it comprehensible. Or another example, hands off, giù le mani. Even in those case scenario, the subject you, tu, and take the hands off, togli le mani, both subject and actions or the verb that expresses the action are dropped. On their behalf, we can find only the name that describes what's happening. Silence, please. Another example, silenzio, per favore. Ask to everybody to be quiet. Noi chiediamo a tutti di fare silenzio. Again, we can have just few words to express a whole meaning. Despite the matter of fact, those very simple nominal phrases are actually useful in everyday spoken language because with few words you can mean a lot. However, in written language it is very hard to find those kind of sentences. Often you can find in special occasions or contexts like in newspaper titles. You have small or tight spaces in which you must fit your titles. Therefore, often you can find nominal phrases on the covers of many famous papers, just because they represent a powerful concepts with the minimum amount of words. Ladies and gentlemen, class is over. Remember, if you like the video, please smash the like button and subscribe to the channel if you like the format and you want to learn more about Italian language and about Italian culture. Stay tuned because I want to make more videos about Italian practice, but most importantly, in the next few videos, I'm gonna talk about more complicated sentences. So how to move from the simplest sentences you can make in Italian language to more complicated and elaborated phrases. In the meantime, remember, Speak Like a Genius. Bye!